Okay, welcome everybody to the Tuesday morning business building Zoom call. This is the Zoom call where Onyx and I bring you value on skill sets that you need to build your business. And we're going to go right into this because we're starting a little late today. So today we're going to be talking about time blocking. And the reason why I actually thought about this is when I was talking to one of my promoters in Vegas, and said, what's some of the things that you struggle with? And when she started talking to me about her calendar, her schedule, are you working today? Are you not? Because she's in one of those essential jobs that she's not essential every day, right? So some days that they're pushed off and the schedule just is constantly changing. And it reminded me of the skill set that I really, really use and know that I have to do to build a pipeline in real estate and make sure that I am on it every single day, the tasks that are actually going to give me that end goal of having a prosperous pipeline. And that's time blocking. And I know for me, I had kind of gotten away from that, and not really away from it, because my philosophy is if it's not on my calendar, it just does not exist, right? So I thought, let me put down the basics of this, of what I do when I time block. So we're going to go right into a screen share, and I am going to share with you what it is that I do. There we go. Okay, so time blocking, these are going to be the key fundamentals of time blocking. And time blocking is simply the task of making sure you're blocking out the necessary time to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And you may not achieve the actual goal that day, but you've blocked out some time to get you one step closer to that goal. So you can live your life proactively or reactively. And I feel like, especially right now with the changing times and how things are for us, that we're all kind of living reactively, because the days that we wake up to are not the days that we're used to. Although in 3 months of this now, I think we're getting a little more used to this way of life. But living proactively means that you are designing your days around the tasks that will help you accomplish your longer term goals. And those things are so important that we do that. This isn't working the way I wanted it to work. So living reactively means that you either don't have control over your schedule, or that you have a plan, but you don't stick to it for whatever reason. The reasons can include your own procrastination. I'm going to add into here, because I actually took these from a real estate slide deck that I have, but I'm going to add into here fear. It's not something that we talk to realtors a lot, although I think realtors have fear of picking up that phone too. So I think with the network marketing, what is our biggest wall that we hit is this overcoming that fear of making that call to somebody that we know, love, and trust, right? People that are within your network, and they might think, oh my God, she's nuts, right? And who wants to hear that you're crazy to be doing this? But I think right now, with the world that we're living in today, people would really, the reaction might be that they really appreciate the fact that you're trying to do something a little bit different to have that gig income or side income, besides just waiting on the economy to come back around, or your job to come back into place, or your unemployment to kick in. Sheila was saying earlier today that so many people on the island, they are not having, they haven't gotten their unemployment. So the reasons can include all of those things, but I think for us, the biggest reason is fear, is people just don't push past that fear. Your work environment also can keep you from being productive. Now, you know, many of us are working from home, right? And if you were doing this job more full time, or you were used to doing it, what happened to the working from home now? Your kids are home, your husbands could be home because they got laid off. So your environment could be pushing you out of that, forcing your calendar or time blocking for you to find the success that you need. So figure out a ways around that. I mean, last night, Marcy called me on Sunday night and said, hey, can you do a testimonial? So immediately I said, yes, send me the date, the time. So she did. I put it in my calendar. Well, I was literally getting ready to walk out the door to have dinner with my husband and my son last night when my calendar reminded me that I had that testimonial call. So at that time I had to change my environment. Said, you know what, I forgot I said I would do a testimonial on a call tonight. So we have to wait 40 minutes to do that, to leave. So basically sent them to their rooms because they're part of my environment to make sure that this Zoom can happen, right? So you have to learn to adjust and be, you know, in a nice way, aggressive enough to make sure that what you have in your calendar comes first during that time. Yes, there are things that are going to come about that are going to be more important than what's in your calendar, and you'll have to make changes, but learning to prioritize those things will really help you get through the day. Let me find this again. I'm going to go a different route with this. Okay. So the latter happens when you subscribe to the false thinking that someone else's goals are more important than yours. So my husband and my son eating dinner, there might have been a time, probably not for a long time, when I thought that was more important than actually jumping on the call with Marcy. So don't get sidetracked on stuff like that. Really learn to prioritize what it is that you have to do to build this business to find the success. If you're in the habit of living reactively, it can be a hard habit to break, but it's something all of you are capable of doing. By breaking that habit, time blocking will definitely help. So what is time blocking? Time blocking is the process of arranging your tasks into the hours of your day to achieve max productivity. It's how you design your days in a proactive way versus being reactive to the demands of others. Well, as a real estate broker for 21 years, I've actually read this book twice, and it's called The One Thing. And it is a Keller Williams, written by Gary Keller and somebody else, about time blocking. And it's really talks to you about the one thing. Now, we all are entrepreneurs, so we like doing multiple things, right? But you need to separate that one thing from multiple streams of income to one thing. And what that one thing means is, what are you doing during this block of time that you're going to put all of your focus to? So if it's lead generation or list building and calling your list, you have to make a commitment for that hour or 2 hours that you've blocked out to call your list, that nothing will interfere it. Now, obviously you're not going to turn off your phone because you're going to be on your phone, but you can't let other distractions stop you during that time that you set that up. Now, things can come into play and change. So I have every day from 1 to 2:30, I have blocked out to call my leads list. And those, when I say leads list, they're people that I know, people that are in my network, people that are on my email database, people that have actually, I look at the activity of rapid funnel. So I kind of have a way to go down to see who's most important to follow up that day. Now that changed. It's only from 1 to 2 today because I got a message on LinkedIn when I woke up this morning that said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about joining LifeWave. So where do I put him in? I put him in where it's the leads list, because him and I have already talked. He is a lead. So I actually scheduled out 30 minutes from 2 to 2:30 today and scheduled with him that I will be calling him at 2 o'clock, and he's a chiropractor. So you're constantly changing those things. And I'll talk to you a little bit about my schedule. I use Google Calendar because I like it the best, but there are things that do get changed, and I'll teach you where to put those changes in your system. Okay. So what is time blocking? Time blocking is the process of arranging your tasks into the hours of a day to achieve max productivity. It's how you design your days in a proactive way versus being reactive to the demands of others throughout your day. And this is such a hard thing to do, you guys. I always say one of the best things that I have going for me today is I don't have little kids. Okay, if you have little kids, that's a whole nother dynamic. You still have to time block, but at the same time, you're time blocking for yourself. You're time blocking for your children. And what I mean by that is, if you have nap time, let's say for 1 to 3 for your children, they're time blocked out that they're taking a nap from 1 to 3. That's your time to do what's most important to build your business. And I would say that's your phone calls. So you have to work kind of 2 schedules together. Where are my kids going to be? When can my husband step in to help? When can I get my mom to watch the kids for a few hours every week? And time block those things in so you know that you can time block what's important to you as well. Maybe you're tired of feeling busy but not productive. Does anybody ever can relate to that? That you're super, super busy, but you're not getting anything done? I've had multiple agents through my years of coaching that actually struggle with this right now. They're constantly out there doing busy work, but they're never securing that deal. So you need to identify what's keeping you busy but not productive. And if that's, you're constantly busy with one task more than another, eliminate that task, because that task is not taking to you an area of productivity. I hope that makes sense. Maybe you're sick of back-to-back meetings or limited hours to truly focus. Figure out what's got you held up and stuck to where you're not actually building, and eliminate that. If you're doing, getting on to training calls 7 days a week or 10 times a week, maybe you should cut those down to 5 times a week until you find more productivity with what you're trying to accomplish. Whatever the reason, time blocking is worth trying. Even if you've tried other time management techniques, productivity experts and time blocking advocates agree. It's definitely something that you have to do. My philosophy is, if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't really exist. Example of point is yesterday, if I wouldn't have immediately put that in my calendar for a Monday night call at 6 o'clock, I'd have no-showed on Marcy, and that would have really sucked for Marcy and Sheila and Heidi. So at least in my mind, if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. And I have times where I'm like, oh, I won't forget that. And because I've trained myself on that philosophy, I hear a little voice in my head say, Kathy, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. You better put it in your calendar. It's just how I've changed my mindset and my thinking. So for you to take a look at kind of how my day goes, and sometimes it starts before this, but I don't put things purposely in my schedule before 6 a.m. But when it's red and it's on my calendar, I can take a quick look. Let's say somebody calls and wants a 3-way call. The yellow or the anything that's red can't be changed. That has to be done. I mean, I had to do my talking points for the business Zoom today, so I put it in there. I did it from 6 to 7. Obviously, when this gentleman said, I want to join your LifeWave business, I'm not changing that appointment, right? So anything that I know cannot be changed is red. Okay, this is in there every single day, at least between 7 to 8 hours. It's my time. Grab a cup of coffee, get your tea, get your makeup done, get your hair done, and that's in there 7 days a week, right? And then things change here. I don't always take an hour lunch with my daughter, but yesterday we made the plan to meet for lunch today. So I blocked that out with her, because if I don't, I'll even stand her up. I've done it a million times. It's an easy one to do when you know your family loves you anyways, right? So my cold calling or calling to follow up on leads is from 1 to 2. I do time block out dinner with my family. I think it's important for us to sit down and connect at least that hour a day. And I still have, even though he's 23, I still have one at home. So, and then tonight is the other LifeWave review, 6 to 6:30. So that's how I do it. You can do it however it works for you, but if it's not in your calendar, at least for me, it just doesn't exist. Does anybody have any questions? I see the chat window up here.
I had a little something to add, Kathy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so my first build, my kids were 2.5 and 5 and right underfoot, and I was a full-time mom. And some of the most common challenges, of course, were being on the phone, and the kids, whenever I would be on the phone, would be, you know, at my feet and just like, mom, mom, you know, and I really kind of meditated about it and realized that, you know, I didn't want them to think that the phone was more important than them. So I started making these deals where I'd put a sign up and say, you know, mommy's working. And then I would turn the sign over and it was kid time, and I'd get down on the floor and give them really, really quality time. And so they kind of got that, okay, give her space now, we'll get our time. And then I would involve them in putting together materials, things like that, like anything I could involve them with. If I had people over, they were serving snacks, you know, things like that. And they started to kind of feel like they were part of the business. And then the other thing was, there were times I made sure that my kids heard me when I pick up the phone. If like one of my reps called or something, if I pick up the phone, I would literally say, you know what, I'm with my daughter right now, and so I'll have to get back to you, so that they would hear me also putting other people off for them. These are just little things, but kids can become so difficult, and we can use them as an excuse instead of the reason why we're doing this. So I thought
Yeah,
that might be helpful for anyone.
and just so everybody knows, Onyx built her multi-million-dollar organization. Onyx, your kids were small back then, you know, so it can be done. I remember when I was in Visalis, one of the leaders that somebody else brought in, she was actually cross-lined to me, but her and I really connected, and we would talk a lot. She would hide in her master bedroom closet, and it was a walk-in closet. And I used to laugh at that. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? She goes, no. She goes, it's the only place I could get peace and quiet. I go sit down on the floor. And then her husband would send a picture out to us of, you know, her sitting on, and you know, the floor. And still today, she's a top leader in the network marketing field. She went from being her first company, and she's, you know, very well respected in network marketing today. But she literally built her skill set in her master closet sitting on the floor. So if there's a will, there's a way. It's really about your drive and how you're going to make it happen. She had 2 beautiful boys, and they're very well rounded, and she's a great mom, and she figured out a way to balance all of it so it can happen. So many women in this industry, I think the statistics show, Onyx might know more than me, that most of the top leaders in this industry are women. So it's definitely, you know, you can use your children or home as an excuse, or you can find a way to work around it and time block with it. I just know with my children being older, it's just something that I'm not having to do right now. You know, so that makes it nice. I'm sure Sheila feels that way too.
Well, Kathy, I'm sorry, Onyx. Real quick, one thing, you were showing your calendar, and people were asking what brand you use.
Yeah, I typed it in the chat. I just use Google Calendar, you guys. I think it's the best calendar out there. You can actually share that calendar with multiple people if you choose to. I also have a calendar for Lifeway for our team, and it actually feeds directly to our team website. So all of Marcy and Peter's calls are on our team website on the front page. Of course, this call's on that team website too. So Google Calendar is the easiest calendar to use in my mind.
So the one, to that point, I'm less techie and way old school, and I have a planning written calendar. Don't be afraid to get one, okay? Okay.
And there's actually
time
great
works with a handwritten calendar
just
too.
for network marketing too. I mean, you'll spend 40, 50 bucks on it, but there is a planner out there for network marketing. I've seen it. I think years ago I bought it. My thing about that is I run out the door with an iPad and my phone. And when I had to eliminate the paper planner because I was never taking it because everything goes in my phone. So everybody has to find what works for them. But you know, I will tell you that psychology states that when you write it, you remember it more. So if you're having a hard time remembering things, and for whatever reason you're not noticing the notifications on your phone, get a paper planner, because it's a proven fact that if you write it, you remember it. It has something to do with the correlation of the writing and the brain. So it's definitely, it works. Now, I have an iPad, and I've actually thought about getting a planner that's digital that I can write with my pencil on my iPad. It's just something I haven't done yet. Onyx, are you there?
I sure am. Thank you, Kathy, for that. And I love the image of somebody building in their closet, because us girls will do what it takes, especially when the kids are young. And Alex, thank you for sharing as well, and Sheila as well. And it is true, I did build a multi-million-dollar business at the same time as raising the young girls. My youngest one, when I started, was 5 years old, and my oldest one, I think, would have been 10. And the thing that I noticed in doing that is that today, as it stands, my youngest is now 18. All 3 of my girls have a serious work ethic. They understand what it is to work. They like to work. They get up and do work. So I really, I'm grateful in so many ways for network marketing that I was at home doing this work in front of them, that they overheard me talking, that they overheard me speaking about the business. Now in this space, my kids are older, and many of you all on the call as well, your kids are older. And so now it's about, how do we motivate our kids to understand the power of having a gig opportunity or a side hustle, whatever they want to call it, because it is coming as the way of the future. And certainly network marketing will be front and center in that. Whether LifeWave is where they're in it or whether they choose another company, ultimately for me, it doesn't matter. You know, my goal is that they will become children that other people want to be around, adults that other people want to be around, and that they can add good into the world. And so I think personally, network marketing is one of the best places to do that. I don't know any other environment where you find such a group of like-minded individuals where everyone wants to see you succeed. So I'll tell you a story about one of the girls who was in my business. Actually, I met her at a Robert Kiyosaki event. So she was a cold contact for me. I had been not in my juice business for very long, under 3 months. I had no idea what I was doing. I was making massive mistakes. I was talking way, way, way too much. In any case, I went to a Robert Kiyosaki event. I brought some bottles of juice and I brought some brochures, and I'm like, I'm going to find some people to sign up here. And, you know, lo and behold, I would sit at a table. I'm like, nope, none of these are right. Nope, none of these are right. And then I sat at a table and I sat next to this girl. Well, her name is Megan, and she ended up making 12 or 14 million dollars. She said yes to me in the Monavie business, and we became fast friends. So you never know who you're going to meet in this business. And when Kathy was talking about time blocking and whether or not you're doing things that you're busy but you're not actually being productive, the words that I use for that are, is the activity you're doing a money-making activity? So often we all get stuck in doing the things that are easy for us, the things that are in our wheelhouse, the things that we don't even have to think about. They just come about so easily. But is that actually a money-making activity? And that's one of the things that I learned in network marketing, is staying focused on the things that build business and not getting too side railed into other activities that don't actually help you build business. That's the reason Kathy and I have spent so much time developing all the things that you all need to build your business, so that you don't have to waste your time in non-money making activities. You can just utilize the stuff that Kathy and I have created for all of you. And so I wanted to share with you, to switch topics. I saw an advertisement. Anthony Robbins is doing a free 7-day course. I think it starts next week. I don't know enough about it. I did put it up on the team page. If you haven't signed up for it, I definitely would sign up for it. I've spent time one-on-one with Anthony Robbins. I've done many of his seminars all over the world. I think he's brilliant, and he's current, and he's relevant. So if you don't find at least one nugget in that week, I'd be very, very surprised. Of course, he'll try and sell you multiple other things, I'm sure, but at least for a chance to be in a different conversation. Who knows, on their Facebook group, maybe you'll make friends with somebody that you can bring into your LifeWave business. I've certainly have sat next to people at Anthony Robbins events who have become friends of mine as well. So that's there. And the other thing I was going to share, and maybe I'll put it up on the Facebook page if you guys want to see it. I went yesterday I have this fancy dentist. I think he's some kind of a oral periodontal something, and he does gums. And I went to him back in 2016, and he has a laser. He does basically uses a laser in order to heal gums. So in 2016, he tracked all of my different teeth and said, you know, yes, we need to do the laser. And as it turned out, my life got in the way, and I just didn't do anything with it. He still had that map of basically how deep all the pockets were at all my teeth. I think you guys have heard me say recently, I've noticed that my gums aren't bleeding anymore. Well, he went and did this. I went in there yesterday, and he did the pockets yesterday of all of my teeth. And it's like 3/4 of them are now 100% better. He's like, this is incredible, Onyx. What's going on? What are you doing? Have you changed your oral hygiene? Because you're older than you were in 2016. And historically, people don't get better, they get worse. And I said, no, I haven't changed my oral hygiene. I wish I was better, but I'm not as good as but I've been using this X39 patch. And he said, really? And he wanted to know, of course, he wanted to know about the patch. But the reason I'm telling you this story is simply that now it becomes, for me, it's not anecdotal. I can actually see on the map of my pockets of the teeth what's really going on. And those of you who remember, I've been using X39 now for 9 months. So I can only imagine where I'm going to be 18 months in. I think there were, you know, oh, there they go. There you go. You guys can see my teeth. So the black, you can see the date at the top on the left. It says the one that's on the left is the current one. And all the black is what you want. All the red is what you don't want. The red means a pocket above 4. And you'll see I have a couple of 6s still. But originally when I went to this man, I had one tooth that was a 9, believe it or not. And he said at 10, you actually lose the teeth. And that's why I went to him. So it just once again reminds me that the power of X39. And if you don't have your sneakers on, I encourage you to put those sneakers on. I've been sponsoring like crazy. I worked crazy all weekend. On my phone just kept exploding. There were so many people that were joining the business, personals as well as people within the organization. So people are definitely looking. They're trying to figure out, you know, what's coming. How do they want to organize their lives? How do they want to live? And, you know, one of the things that I've added into my conversation with people is that we were deemed an essential business. And so if we happen to go into another shutdown in the future, I know that I will continue to have a business that will continue to pay me whether we're in a shutdown or not. And so that was it's been a sort of a talking point beyond stem cells that's extremely interesting, or is other people are very interested in. So it might be something that you want to add in to that which you're speaking about to the people and the contacts. Remember, time and circumstances changes everything for everyone. So I don't put anybody in a no-never list. I put everybody, and I'm going to come back to them 6 to 8 weeks later. So if you've had people that perhaps said no to you before the shutdown, might be time to send them a little note, send them something out of the Rapid Funnel app, you know, to say, hey, we were essential business. I was able to continue earn money during this last shutdown. I really would like to talk to you about this business. Perhaps things have changed in your life, and see where you get to. So I've talked a lot again. I'm sorry. So we are just about, we're right at the end of the call. Correct, Kathy?
Awesome, everybody. That was awesome. So I hope you guys get some value out of this stuff as we try to share it with you. Everybody has a lot to share. I so appreciate Sheila and Alex in giving their input on this too, because it's really important to hear other people with their challenging lives and the demands and how they're working around those things. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this call. We will see you on this same call next Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, as we do our business building Zoom every Tuesday morning. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.